All right.
Chelsea, shut up!
That was on the podcast?
That's fine.
We're recording with...
That was my cousin. She was singing in the background. She's visiting from Michigan. But this ain't about her right now, so shut up!
We're keeping that on for sure.
She said fuck you. You guys probably couldn't hear it, but it's fine.
This podcast is already on a roll.
Yeah, we're already at a great start.
All right. So anyways, here I am with Kevin Norman.
Hey guys, what's up? Kyle and I went to school together, elementary school. And then I guess I found out today he left in middle school. And I didn't notice because I was in my own little bubble of nerds.
Yeah, I was in my own world of just not good people.
It's fine. Like it seems like you're in a great place now, so.
Now, it's taken a while, but
everything takes time though. That's what I've learned.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely once you get older, you learn patience. Patience is the key.
I'm not patient though.
No?
I hate waiting for things. I think because we live in such like a generation like give it to me now.
Totally.
Like with Instagram
totally.
And like immediate likes or like
that's a huge
immediate attention, like even like online dating, like an immediate swipe.
Exactly. Huge downfall of this era. And with social media, you're really chugging on that drink.
Yeah, I have a drink, guys. I made a drink and I have a metal straw in it because like save the sea turtles, get rid of plastic. And we're like already almost done with it.
Ooh,
so
all right, it's gonna be an interesting.
It'll be a fun podcast.
All right, I'm ready, and I have my ice chest full of beer.
He does have beer. What kind?
As usual, 805.
Not sponsored, but
no, I wish.
Can you imagine? Like 805 is like, here's free beer for your entire podcast series.
I would quit my job. Just do podcasts.
That'd be amazing.
All right, let's get into it. So, after obviously like life, I mean,
after life, did I die?
I was gonna say no. I was gonna say life begins after high school, but it doesn't, because high school is like a totally different just life in itself. But anyways, after high school, like what went on? Did you go to college? Are you still going to college?
What? Yeah, I went to Laverne Heights and then Ramona, and then everybody else went to Bonita. I went to Damien. And after Damien, I went to Cal State Fullerton for 2 years, where I studied. I originally went in as like a theater major, and then I realized if I want to act and perform, I don't need a degree to do it. So I switched my major and did like broadcast journalism. And then after 2 years at Cal State Fullerton, I said, no, fuck this. Like, I can't get classes, and went to University of Laverne, which is funny because, like, growing up in Laverne, I said I would never, ever go there. And, of course, that is where I ended up. And so I went to University of Laverne, and then when I went there, I switched my major again because it was going to take an extra year to graduate. And I said, no, I'm going to finish this in 4 years like a normal person.
The patience thing again?
Yeah, I just wanted in and out. Like, I wanted to get out of college so bad, and now all I can think about is how badly I wish I can go back.
That's a huge issue. My sister just graduated, and same thing. She wants it here, now, and we're just trying to like, dude, patience.
Yeah, no, really. Like, I graduated, and I was like, yeah, the real world. And I was like, no, the real world sucks. Like, take me back.
Yep.
But I graduated with a degree in liberal arts, and then, so, like, general education, basically. A lot of people go, oh, do you want to be a teacher? And I was like, no, that was not the goal whatsoever. And in order to graduate, I had to, it was either, like, write a paper or like put on a fundraiser, or I pretty much had creative freedom. So I asked my professor, I said, hey, can I like write, produce, and star in my own one-man show about the topic that I have to study? And he's like, yeah, go for it. So basically I did a whole show series on homosexuality and Christianity, and if the two can correlate, and how they don't actually disagree with each other. So that's what my entire senior thesis was.
Wow, I need to study on that.
There's a like there like people ask me questions and I'm like, honestly I don't remember much, but I remember like I don't know, I never agreed with it, like growing up in the church and like whatnot. I was like, this doesn't seem right for you guys to like pick and choose verses that you think
I agree.
Like we should follow by, and then tell like certain people you can't do that because like the Bible says you can't get tattoos. And I was like, I know so many religious people who have tattoos, and then they changed it to like, oh, you can get tattoos as long as they're like religious tattoos. And I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Agreed.
And so that's pretty much what I did my senior thesis on, and then I graduated. And after I graduated, I stayed home for like another year and a half, and I road tripped the entire country. I worked for a company called the National History Bee, where I like hosted history competitions for kids throughout the entire United States.
Wow.
And I did that for 3 months. And then when I got back, a year after that, I like moved out and then moved to LA to pursue my acting dream. And then I've been on my own ever since.
Wow, that's a lot at once, man.
Dude, it was a shit ton. I got tired of people saying, what are you going to do with your life now? And I'm like, I have no like fucking idea what I'm going to do with my life.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Like we said, that we were just talking about at this age. Who knows? You never know where you're gonna end up, especially in college. I hear all the stories like, oh, I gotta change this. I changed my major. I did this. It's hell for everyone, I think.
I don't think anyone really knows what they're doing or what they want to do, or even if they do, I feel like they still don't. If that makes any sense.
It's just a weird transition, period. You got people who are actually set in careers and married with fucking kids. And then, there's people who haven't even gone to college to try to pursue anything. And they're still living with mom and pop, just not doing a damn thing. So, very interesting time.
Yeah, I was the first one in my family to graduate from college.
There you go.
Which was, like, my motivation to do it.
Yeah.
I never wanted to do it. I was like, I just want to move to LA and act, and I don't need a college degree for anything, but I'm actually so glad I did it. So anyone listening, finish school. It's worth it. You get a lot of fun experiences, and that's how I met my best friends, so.
Perfect. Are you going to school now?
No, I'm done with school. So I graduated in 2014. I got my bachelor's. Mm-hmm. And then ever since then, I've just been like working. I worked at iHeartRadio for some time.
Badass.
And then it was fun. The pay was just like shit. It was horrible.
What did you do?
I did promotions. So I did like giveaways and events. And like I was constantly interacting with people, which I love to do.
Yeah.
But then I would do stupid shit. Like one day I got so mad because they made me my job for the day was to hold a door open. And I was like, I have a college fucking degree. And my job right now is to hold a door open. That's why they invented door, like, stoppers or holder things. I was like, buy one of those, and, like, you're wasting, like, me. Like, I don't know. I felt... Horrible. It just seemed like I went to school for nothing in order to do that. And now I work... I'm a server, which, again, doesn't require school, but I actually really enjoy it, which I didn't think I would.
You have the personality.
Thank you.
I think that's why.
Yeah.
You're just super bubbly and outgoing.
And so I like it a lot. I like interacting with people and talking about...
What do you serve now?
It's a restaurant called Tallulah's in Santa Monica.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but I live in Burbank.
Oh.
Yeah, so I live in Burbank. I come out to Laverne, where we are right now, like every Monday to visit. Like I visit my parents, and then like my doctors and stuff are still out here. So if I have an appointment, it's all out here.
Gotcha. That's pretty freaking cool, and that definitely explains why you're always at the fucking beach.
That's why, literally, if you guys ever follow me on Instagram, you'll see I'm always at the beach. It's because I work right across the street from the water. So what I do is I go, and I don't start my job until about 5 or 6 at night. So I will just work, like, go to my gym, work out, and then I'll drive over to work, park there, go to the beach, and then lounge by the beach, read my books, go swimming in the water, and then that's literally my life. So people think I don't have a job because they see me always at the beach, but I'm like, no, I work. I just work when everybody else is not working.
You have the life, man. I'm fucking jealous. And I don't even like the beach that much, and I'm still jealous.
Still have to work, though.
So are you still going to try to pursue the acting?
Yeah, so I'm still doing that, and then, but I realized, like, I love writing, like, so much. And, like, growing up, I never thought of writing as, like, a thing I like or anything of the sort. I actually wrote my first poem about Kelsey Samuelson. Do you remember Kelsey Samuelson?
Yes.
I wrote my first poem about her, and it was terrible. It was, like, the worst poem I've ever written in my entire life, and I wrote it in 2nd grade.
No shit. Oh, yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah, and I
Awesome.
didn't even know, like, back then it was a poem or what I was doing.
Wow.
I remember I shared it with her in, like, 6th grade, and she thought it was the creepiest thing. And I was like, never going to share a poem with a love interest ever again. And then I didn't write poetry again, like, until I did once in 6th grade, because we were assigned to do it in a class. And then I never wrote again until maybe I wrote, like, 1 or 2 things in high school. And then never wrote again until about halfway through college. And then that's when I got really serious about it.
Wow.
And then when I first started writing, everything had to rhyme. And I, like, envied people who could write without rhyming.
Yeah.
So a lot of my first stuff, which I, like, hide away in a dark corner, it rhymes. It all rhymes. And then, yeah. And so now acting, I still pursue, like, I have acting class every Wednesday. But I am doing a lot of writing now, and I perform open mic nights, like slam poetry, and I read a shit ton of poetry. I'm just trying to get better, and I'm trying to pursue that, and it's definitely an outlet I want to keep going towards, because it still incorporates performing. Poetry, if you do, like, slam poetry and spoken word. There's one poet, I watched all her stuff, named Rupi Kaur, and she's, like, the most famous poet out there, and I was like, if you can make a living doing this, there's no reason why I can't.
100%.
And so that's, like, now my mission is perform, but also write, and I don't know, I'm just hoping something magical will happen, and someone will be like, I really like your work, and then it'll just, like, snowball. It's a pun for his microphone, it's called Snowball. It'll just snowball, and, I don't know, something will happen from it.
I hope so, because I love everything you do. Everything you post is fucking amazing, and the way you do it.
I really appreciate that a lot. I'm just gonna cut you off and say that. But keep going.
And I told him this, but I'm telling my listeners now. He's a part of, like, he's a reason why I started podcasting. I wanted to talk to fucking cool people, and he's a fucking cool person. Like, he with talent. I love the way he writes and the way what's the word? The way you go about it. It's not like you just write fucking poetry. You don't just do that, especially on your Instagram.
Yeah.
The way you go about it is amazing, and I'm going to tag you on this, and every one of my listeners will follow you, I hope, because it's amazing. I think it's unique. I've never seen anything like it. You definitely got something going on, and like I said, I hope you go far with that.
Thank you.
Or with anything, period.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's kind of scary when I share my stuff on Instagram, because it's deeply personal to, like, how I feel or how I felt.
Yeah.
And I'm always, like, I don't do it for other people. I don't do it so people go, oh, this is good, I like it. I mainly do it for me, but it's also, like, if someone goes, this is trash, or I hate this, or I'm kind of always scared people won't like it. Mm-hmm. And it makes me hesitant to share my work, but I also know it's, like, my truth and I have to share it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously at this point, you shouldn't still be feeling that, because you definitely need to keep doing what you're doing, period, because I think it's fucking amazing. And everyone I've shown, because I've been so pumped.
You've shown people?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Really?
Fuck yeah. Everyone I've shown, okay, people ask about the podcast, and again, you're one of the first people I thought of. I just go to your Instagram and show them, and they're just like, wow, like, this is fucking badass.
Dude, that means the world to me, but...
Dude, you got something going, man.
Thanks.
Don't fucking stop.
Thank you. I won't stop, I promise.
Don't be afraid. Don't be fucking afraid. Just fucking go with it.
I think a fear also comes because my Instagram was definitely... I have a lot of followers who just want to follow me just to see me and don't really care about anything I have to say, and so I've noticed, like, when I'll share, like, poems or certain artworks, like, I've had people, like, tell me, like, hey, I'm not going to follow you anymore because I don't want to see this stuff. And it's, like, kind of hard on me, but I'm also, like, then you don't really care to know anything about me if you just, like, only want to see pictures of my face or me shirtless or, like, dumb shit that I don't even care about. Like, I'm more excited to share my poems than I am to post, like, a selfie or a picture of my face.
I completely agree with that, because that's who you are. You're literally spilling you out onto paper. And if they don't want to see that, then fuck them, I say.
I agree with you.
I'm sorry if I was too kind of harsh on that.
No.
But anyway.
No, thank you. No, but I agree. I totally agree with that.
Because it, like I said, again, it's truly an art. Amazing talent. And again, it's you. I don't understand why people would be like that at all. Like, I understand. I think the whole social media thing is just ass backwards. People don't.
I hate it.
It's
especially
just misconstrued. It's just people don't understand it fully. Some people need to get the fuck off it.
Oh yeah.
People, like, I don't know, just people want to have weird conversations on it. From what I've seen, I can only imagine your side of it. People saying, "Hey, I don't want to see that." It's just kind of But
it's like I get those messages, but I don't want to knock like the positive stuff I get. I definitely get messages from people who are like, I love your work. Or one girl yesterday was like, I screenshot everything you post. Somebody made it their wallpaper on their MacBook.
Wow.
Other people go, I'm going through a breakup and I relate to everything you say, which is always so shocking to me because the things I write are so specific to me and my own personal breakups and what I went through. And so I love that like people can take my words and make them their own. That is like, because there's times where even I don't have the words to describe how I feel, and I read a shit ton of poetry, and somebody else can say like what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing because I couldn't find the words to do that. Awesome. And I want to do that for other people and be like, here, take my words, you can borrow them, you can have them, you can, if this expresses how you feel, hold on to them. Like, it's yours, it's not mine.
That's amazing. And I can only imagine the feeling you get when people tell you that or message you with that. I can only imagine. Because, there's, I mean, like I said, every piece that I've read is amazing, but there's definitely, and because I'll comment on it.
Yeah, I think there's like you commented on the one about foreign people in foreign places. Like, I fall in love with foreign people. I can't even quote myself. I don't know what it is. But somebody featured that one today, which is really cool.
Oh, dope. Oh, cool.
And that will happen too. Like, one poetry account shared one of my posts, and I got 20,000 likes. Like, way more than I've, like, ever fucking gotten on my own Instagram. Damn. I was just like, 20,000 people liked this. Like, it's just, like, a weird feeling.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine that many people watching you.
No, I'm just like, damn. And then I'll get, like, messages from people, or they'll be like, can you critique my work? And I'm like, don't ask me that, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time. I can't really, like, I don't know how to help other people. I always tell them, write how you feel and be truthful, and that's all you have to do.
That's amazing. And like you said, I'm caught on how you're saying it. You're like, you have trouble putting your feelings into words.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even speak English correctly. So imagine, like, trying to do what you do. Like, I give you mad props.
Thanks.
So that's quite, like, just an amazing thing you're doing. So it's definitely an outlet for you. Is that what it thrives off? Is that all you do it for, I guess?
Yeah, I don't really do it for, like, for people to notice it, or, like, I don't do it for other people. I should just put it that way. In a weird way, I do, because I want other people, like I said earlier, to be able to, like, feel something or express themselves through it, but I don't write stuff saying, will people like this? I mainly write stuff that, like, I'm trying to work through a feeling, or I'm feeling sad about something. Like, what am I feeling? I just want to put it into words, and in a weird way, it's like I release a small part of it. So it's I'm no longer holding it inside, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Oh, 100%. And it's amazing that you have such a healthy way to do that. You know, because, I mean, people don't know how to react to certain things that happen in their life. And, you know, there's alcohol, drugs, you know, you name it. But to have that, man, that's, you know, that's huge. That tells you how, you know, how your personality is, the person you are. That's incredible.
My thing is, like, if something bad is going to happen to me, if I can turn it into something good, that's what matters. So, like, a lot of my poetry is all written about the same person, who I don't think ever sees it, completely blocked on social media, so they have no way of seeing it. But it's also, like, I'll get comments from people like, are you still writing about this? Why are you still writing about that person? And I'm like, because I haven't processed it yet. Like, I'm still working through it. love doesn't really, I always say, like, love never operates with time. And so there's no, like, timestamp of when you should be over something or when you should no longer feel something, because I could probably write about anybody for long periods of time just because I don't forget things that happen, or, like, I kind of turn every experience into one way or another, like, some form of art.
And I think love is,
Love's a bitch.
Oh, yeah. Let's start off with that. Love is a bitch. And it's just such a different feeling from any other, especially when it's a downfall of it. It's one of the hardest things to get over, period.
Oh, it really is.
I don't give a fuck what it is. That's the hardest thing to get over. So,
which is why I write about it so much.
Yeah.
Because I've, like, a lot of poets I follow, they write about, like, rape or black culture and things like this. And I think those are definitely things that deserve voices. I just, like, that's not my field. And I kind of just always write about love or heartbreak. Like, anything I write somehow relates back to love. Because I think love is, like, a universal thing. Like... Mean Girls, there's a quote that says, like, back to Mean Girls. Mean Girls, there's a quote where they say, like, she loves math, and he's like, why? And she's like, because it's the same in every language. And I pretty much feel the same way about love. Yeah. Like, we all understand some sense of love. Like, it has no language, it has no barriers. We all know what it feels like to want someone, to be hurt by someone, to long for someone, things like that. So, like, everyone can relate to love.
Exactly. That's perfect. What, did this person cheat on you? Can we dive into that?
We can. Do you really want the full story?
I mean, like, I do, because it's who you are and, like, what you do, your poetry.
It pretty much
huge.
Inspires, like, everything. I'm working on a book now, and the whole book is about this situation. It's the worst thing that's ever happened.
Yeah. I mean, if you're willing, I don't want to push you.
I really am willing, but I also really have to pee.
Okay, let's pause it.
I don't know if we can pause.
We're going to quick word from our sponsors.
Let me know when we're back.
All right, and we're back.
Okay, sorry guys, I had to pee. The question was, I was like, go back. The question was, what inspired my poetry, or, like, what happened? Who did I write about, basically?
Who and what? Yeah, what was the situation? I guess that impacted.
So the situation. I was coming out of acting class one day. And on Tinder, just swiping, and then I matched with this dude named Aiden, who popped up, and I was like, oh my god, you're blonde hair, green eyes, like, you're everything I want in another human being. We became a match, and then we, like, chatted for a bit, and he's like, I live in Australia, and I was like, oh, this will never work. It was nice talking to you. And then he's like, but I come to America because he teaches for this really rich family. And he, like, travels with them and all they do. And so he basically, he's like, I'll be in America in July. And it was, like, March, or it was some month, whatever. It was like, okay, whatever.
Some month.
It was some month. So we just followed each other on Instagram. He, like, followed me. I thought he was one of those dudes who was pretty much like, oh, I want to gain Instagram followers, so I'm going to follow a shit ton of people and then unfollow them later. I don't know if you know that, but people do that. Like, Instagram is like that.
That is
And so weird. I thought he was like that.
Legit. Okay.
And then we just started talking on Instagram and stuff. And come July, he shows up. And I was like, I'd love to meet you while you're here, but no pressure whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I'd love to meet you too. And then we meet. And the first night we meet, it's his first night in town. We end up getting drunk, spending the night together. And then the next day I was like, this was fun, like, I'll never talk to you again. Like, you're fucking Australian. Like, what is the possibility we're ever gonna, like, actually make anything out of this? And so, he was here for a week, so we spent the entire week together. And I was like, hey, dude, like, this was an incredible week-long romance, but that's all it was. Like, I wasn't trying to think of a future because I don't want to get my hopes up for something that I know is gonna end. And then he basically was like, oh, we mean so much more than a week-long romance. And I was like, okay, now I'm fucking smitten. And then so he's like, I come back in September. This was the end of July. So it was like we had a month apart, but we talked every day. We talked like 6 times a day on the phone. Like, we're always talking.
You just had that connection.
And we had a great connection. I was like, you feel for me as much as I feel for you. This is incredible. I've never felt this with another person in my entire life. Like, this is great. And then the entire time he was gone, he had this friend named Danny. And I just, like, never felt comfortable with Danny, like, at all. And so...
Like, he would talk about him? Obviously, like...
He wouldn't talk about him.
He was from Australia, or he was here?
Danny lived in Australia with him. But he, like, would mention him, but never, like, talk about him. Or else that's, like, red flag, like, numero uno. But he, like, talked about him, but he's like, oh, Danny's just my friend. But when he was here in America, when I first met Aiden, is the dude I was talking to, Aiden was very much like, yeah, there's a guy back home who wants to date me named Danny, but I don't really, like, he's not out, so I'm not about it.
And that's a red flag.
Yeah, but in the beginning, I didn't care because I was like...
Where's this going to go?
Exactly. So then the entire month he's away, he's still talking to me every day, blah, 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 but I still had this weird feeling. I was like, but what about that Danny dude? Like, why am I investing all these emotions in you when you possibly had someone else?
Yeah.
And then he came back in September, was here for 3 weeks. We spent, again, every day together. And I was like, hey, I remember one day Danny, like, called him to wish him goodnight. And I was like, that's weird. Like, friends don't just call you to wish you goodnight.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what's the deal with, like, this Danny dude? And he's like, oh, he's just a friend. Like, you have nothing to worry about. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And then a few weeks later, he came back to America to surprise me for my birthday.
Wow.
And then by this time, I was like, yeah, I love you, you love me. Like, we're totally, like, in love.
For someone to go that far out, a 16-hour flight, I think,
yeah,
to surprise you.
Just to surprise me for my birthday, I was like, that's love.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just do that if you don't care for someone. And so he's out here in October, and everything's great. He meets my entire family and everything, and he gets drunk and tells me he loves me. And I was like, I soberly knew I loved him back. Like, I didn't need to be drunk.
You've had the feeling beforehand, yeah.
And then he goes back to Australia. While he's in Australia, I was basically like, look, we can't keep doing this distance. We got to close the gap. And I was like, you have your job. It's a really good job with this family. Like, you're making a lot of money. You get to travel. I'm not going to take you away from that. Back here, I'm just, like, pursuing acting. I don't have anything tying me down. Like, I can act whenever I want. And so I basically was like, how about we think about me living there? I was like, we don't have to live together or anything, but it, like, is the next step for whatever fuck relationship we have right now.
Whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah, whatever this is. Like, I don't get it. Like, we're clearly in love, but no one's, like, doing anything about it. And he basically was like, yeah. And so I bought the airplane ticket with his credit card. I gave him the money, but we used his card so we'd get travel points. Okay. So, like, to come back
Obviously,
to America.
he has a lot of flyer miles going back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, we'll build up points. So I bought a ticket to move out there. And then I bought a plane ticket to surprise him in November. So my birthday's in October. This was like a few weeks later. I was going there to surprise him. And the day I bought my ticket to fly out there to surprise him, he calls me. And I was like, what's up? Like, something's wrong. You can just tell by this point if something's wrong with the person you love. And he's like, I have to tell you something. I was like, what? And he's like, I've been with Danny the entire time I've been with you. And I was like, not shocked. Like, I wasn't shocked because I kind of knew.
It was always in the back of your head.
And so I was like, well, it finally happened. You told me the truth. And he's like, but I cut Danny off and I want to be with you. Like, I love you. You're the person I want to be with. And so I was like, I was dumb. I was like, I love you too. Like, I'm planning this surprise trip to you. Should I still come? And he's like, yeah, of course. I want to be with you. Blah, blah, blah. So he basically chose me, and I felt great because that's what I wanted the entire time, was for him to be like, you're the person I want to be with. And the only reason he told me the truth about Danny was because, and this relates back to poetry, I gave Aiden for his birthday a whole bunch of, like, little poems I wrote, like, on my typewriter, and Danny found them and then confronted him about it. And that's when Aiden was like, I want to be with Kevin, and got rid of Danny. And then, so I go to Australia, and I'm there, and then when I'm there, Aiden leaves me and we're like on his balcony outside, and he looks like he's about to cry. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm here with you now. Like, finally, I'm here. And he goes, Danny has found out the entire truth about us. And I was like, what do you mean he found out the entire truth about us? Didn't he already fucking know? I thought you told him. That's why I'm here right now, because you said you want to be with me.
So he was teetering.
He was basically still stuck between Danny and I.
Yeah.
And I had just flown across the world to be there for him.
Fuck.
And so when I'm out, that day, he leaves me by myself in his apartment. I don't fucking know anyone else in Australia, except, like, the people I've met through him. So I have no friends.
Fuck.
I don't have anything. He leaves me in his apartment by myself while he goes and makes amends with Danny to tell Danny, hey, I want to be with you. And then he comes back to the apartment to me, and I was like, so what's going on? And he goes, nothing. Are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. Like, clearly I'm not fucking okay. And I was like, so what happened? And he's like, I want to be with Danny. I don't want to be with you. And so I was just like, okay, I'm going home. Fuck off. Don't ever talk to me again, was basically like my thing. Like, dude, I just flew across the world because you said you wanted to be with me.
Holy shit.
So I'm like packing my shit up to leave, and he goes, I made a mistake. Like, you're the one I want to be with. And I was like, I'm not playing this game anymore.
It's too late.
Exactly. I was like, I'm not playing this game anymore. Like, you just want to be with me because you see how hurt I am right now. You only want to be with Danny because you see how hurt he is. Like, you just want, like, to make us happy. And you think that's the only thing that's going to make us happy. And so, but I asked him, I was like, why do you want to be with Danny versus me? Like, what's the reason? And he goes, because he's Australian. I was like, okay, so you only want to be with him because it's more convenient for you versus me saying I would just literally uproot my entire life and leave my family to, like, come and be with you.
That's fucked.
And he goes, I'm sorry. And I was like, you don't even know what you're sorry for right now. I was like, he's like, I just need to think about everything. So I was like, you think about it. I'm going home. Like, you know where I am, basically. A small part of me was hoping he'd chase after me, like a fucking movie.
Of course.
Like,
I mean, there's still love after, you know, I mean, it still lingers.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation. I've been in your shoes in that situation. And I've been in Aiden's shoes in that situation. I've been that asshole before. So I know completely.
So you know both sides, right?
Yes.
I just know mine right now. And so
I've been an asshole, trust me.
I fly... Gee, great. Good to know. Good thing I'm not dating you. So, so I fly back to America thinking he's going to chase me. I tell him, don't ever speak to me. Like, I don't want to talk to you until you figure out what you want. 3 days later, him and Danny are officially boyfriends. And then and so I text him. I was like, what's the deal? And he's like, I don't know what I want. I was like, you do. You know what you want. Just fucking say it. Like, I'm tired of this. And he goes, fine, I want to be with Danny. And I was like, okay, one more question. If I lived there, say I was from there, who would you pick? And he's like, Danny. And I was like, don't ever, ever talk to me again. And I've never spoken to him since. And that was 7 months ago. And it was the one person I've loved the most in my entire life. And so it was such a whirlwind experience that I'm still trying to process. And then they made a couple page together on Instagram. I was like, what? And blocked me from it so I could never see it. And the only reason I know about it is because somebody asked me, they're like, hey, have you seen this page on Instagram? And I was like, no, what is it? They're like, oh, Aiden and Danny have a couple page. And so I tried to look it up on my own, and it's like, oh, does it exist? And I was like, that's fucked.
Well, let's go back from the beginning.
Yeah,
this motherfucker had a Tinder account, but still claimed to be with Danny at that point, no?
Yeah, so they were like talking but not official. I was like, you came to America, slept with me, and then didn't tell me anything really about Danny, and then went home and continued that relationship. There was red flags the entire time that I just ignored because when you fall in love, you become dumb. Like, that's just what happens.
Guaranteed he's not going to end up with Danny. Let's just say that because of how the situation went down.
Which is funny because
You're better off without him, dude.
Thank you. But I had told him the same thing. I was like, dude, if you really wanted to be with Danny, you wouldn't have fucked around with some boy who lives on the other side of the world for 6 months. Like, you just wouldn't have done that.
That's crazy.
But that is what, like, pushed all my poetry and why I started to share it again. Because I didn't share poetry online for years now. And then I started doing it because...
Years after that happened, you mean?
No, years. So, like, a long time ago, I shared poetry on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
And then I deleted all of it because my acting manager was like, your Instagram just needs to be, like, you acting, like, pictures of you, things like that. So I deleted all my poetry. I stopped writing for a long time. Like, I didn't write anymore. And then this whole Australia thing happened, and he loved my work. He's like, you're so talented, blah, blah, blah. And he actually pushed me. He's like, you should get a book. You should make a book. You should make a book.
Who?
Aiden.
Yeah.
He always told me I should do a book.
Uh-huh.
And so I have now officially written a book, which I haven't released yet.
What's it about him?
It's not about him, but it's about...
It's pretty ironic.
Yeah,
he was
right?
done to push you.
Yeah,
then...
but it is. In a way, it's all about him. Because it's like a collection of the recent works I've been writing, but I wanted my collection to tell a story, and the Australia situation is the story I decided to tell with my poetry.
Gotcha.
And so a lot of stuff I write, like, that's when I was saying earlier, like, people are like, stop writing about him, stop talking about that. And I was like, but why? I'm producing work from it. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, and again, it's a huge part of you.
Yeah, and so...
Why? And it blows my mind why, not to bash on those critics that are saying that, but why would you be like that? It's so negative towards someone who clearly has talent. I just don't understand it. And it goes just way further than just what you're doing. I hear it from, like I said, my buddy Owen doing, promoting EDM. And it just keeps going. And I'm just tired of the negativity, I guess. That's all I'm saying.
No,
especially towards you. That's fucked.
Thanks. No, it's just like, but, yeah, it's, I don't know, sometimes I feel like crazy to still write about Aiden and the whole situation, but it's also like, I write from a truthful place and things that happen to me, and like people like you or other people who reach out to me who appreciate it, I was like, this is why I do it, because like, someone somewhere needs these words as much as I do.
Yeah.
And I don't write, like, I will never credit Aiden and say, thank you for, like, what you've inspired in me. Because it's not him. It was my choice to take what happened to me and turn it into work. He had nothing to do with it.
I understand.
Yeah, so after that whole thing, I wrote this poem called Dear Daniel, which was, like, a slam poem, which you guys should all watch. It was a slam poem I did at an open mic night, which got, like, freaking, like, the audience went crazy for it. They loved it.
I want to go crazy over it because I know the fucking story. They didn't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So now I'll have to send it to you so you can watch it.
For sure.
But they, like, people went crazy for it. And it's so funny because, again, like, I was like, it's so specific to just what I went through. And people relate to it so much. Yeah. And I actually had I went back to open mic night and somebody came up to me. They're like, hey, are you known for a poem here? And I was like, oh, well, I wrote this poem called, like, Dear Daniel. And he's like, oh, I love that poem. No. You had the line in it that said blah, 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 blah. And he quoted my poem back to me.
Holy shit.
And he's like, that was so good. And I was like, that's mind-blowing to me.
That's badass.
Because when I uploaded it on YouTube, I don't have YouTube followers. I'm not a YouTuber. But it's gotten over, like, it's almost at 1,500 views, which isn't, like, a lot. But I'm also, like, for someone who doesn't have any following, who shared it, only on my Instagram, I was like, that's a shit ton of people who, like, somehow have found it. And
it shows you it's got quality.
Yeah.
And it got passed around.
Inspires me to, like, want to perform and do more poetry.
And that right there, that's why you need to keep moving with this, man. Don't stop. Don't stop that shit.
Thanks.
That's badass.
So that is my heartbreak trauma story, which I probably wasn't what you expected at all.
I tried to... No, it wasn't.
I was curious. That's why I asked you a lot about, like, what your views were, because I was like, I don't know if, like, this podcast wants me to talk about, like, my relationship or, like, things like that of the sort.
Well,
so that's why I, like, slowly picked your brain. And was
good.
Like,
no, see, that's what...
Can I talk about or can I not talk about?
No, this is an open thing. I want to talk about anything and everything. I want to learn myself. Like, fuck my listeners. It's all about me.
No offense, guys.
No. Like, I want to learn. I want to meet new people. I want to have good conversations with people. And I want my listeners, I want these people to hear other sides. You hear about, like, well, first off, no one hears about a fucking poet anymore. Let's get, you know what I mean?
It's true. People, like, poetry is like a dead thing,
yeah,
which I'm trying to slowly bring back.
So in this case, people like, fucking poet? Like, it's either like, that's weird, or that's fucking badass.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's fucking badass, and if you think it's weird, fuck off. Anyways, it's just one of those things, like you were saying, I already have, this is my 5th podcast, and you were saying I have, like, a broad range of people I talk to. That's all I want. I just want it just be open and
that's what
flowing.
Yeah, I'm learning about people. It's like everyone has such a unique story because, like, Aiden, for example, for me, like, Aiden was my big love. Before Aiden, I dated my pastor's daughter. So it was like, that's like a complete 180 switch.
Yeah, that's a big step, bro.
Yeah, like a huge step. Like, I was like, oh, my pastor's daughter to a dude who lives in Australia. Like, what the fuck is the correlation? None. But it's like, people, like, we all have, like, weird stories or situations or things that happen. And it's just so interesting. I don't know. I'm intrigued by people as much as you are. Which is why I think I like to write about love and connections.
For sure. That is very interesting.
Did you have another question? I see you, like, typing or erasing.
Oh, no, like... I'm just trying to lay some shit out. This is going well. It's going good, bro.
I feel like this podcast was not what you expected, or...
No, it's... No, I mean, not that I didn't... I can't even explain it. I'm enjoying the fuck out of it.
Good. That's all I'm
going to say. You're not surprising me at this point in my life. Nothing really surprises me.
Nothing shocks you. You're fine.
What I was going to ask was, because you had mentioned your senior whatever the fuck in college.
My senior show, yeah.
Yeah. What is it?
My senior show.
No, you said something else. Not show.
What did I call it?
Senior project kind of thing?
Project show. It was a show I did, but it technically was my senior project.
Oh, okay. It was, you said homosexuality and Christian. Was that connecting to the pastor's daughter or whatever?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
So,
good.
like, the first love I ever had, her name was Tori Freeth. Love her. Like, she's great. She's amazing.
Sounds hot.
She was... She's getting married now, and it was such a weird feeling when I found out. It was like, oh, it's not me. I seriously thought I would marry her. There's the one girl in my entire life who I thought I would marry. Is Tori Freeth. And she actually, her family's super Christian, super religious. So when I was 18, I got heavily involved in, like, my church and whatnot. I love doing mission work. So I did mission work in Haiti and Guatemala. And
you're an amazing person.
Thank you. So I did mission work through that, and then, so basically her family got me involved in church, and that's how I got so fascinated with church. And, like, church used to always talk about, like, pray your sins away. Like, what is your one sin? Like, what are you guilty of, basically, was always a thing. And my mind would always just think I was guilty of, like, homosexuality or feeling feelings towards guys. Like, that's all my mind would think. Like, that's...
Even with dating her?
Yeah. My mind would just think, like, that's your one and only sin, which is, like, bullshit, because I'm like, I can be selfish, I could be mean, I could be doing all this other shit, but it didn't matter because homosexuality seemed to be, like, this big, giant demon. Does that make sense?
Of course, yeah.
Like, it overshadowed everything else.
Yeah.
And I was like, the church teaching people that is, like, a problem is ignoring other problems that people could be facing, like, real problems.
They're just trying to bring up a huge issue that is in the church, but not trying to help who you are. Like, your problems, right?
Yes. So I would only think my problems, like, I could have been the most selfish motherfucking asshole that ever existed, but I would think my only problem was...
As long as you're not gay.
Yeah, then you're fine. Like, so it's like... So that was, like, a big thing. So I used to spend...
then I'm in the clear.
I used to spend... Yeah, fuck off.
No.
I used to spend every day, just be like, every night, I was like, Lord, please don't let me, like, feel this way towards this guy, or things like that, which sucks. Which is why I did my whole senior project on it, was because I don't want people to think that they can't just be who they are. And so I'm still religious. I still go to church. And if someone tells me, like, why do you do that if you're gay or if you like guys or, like...
That's horrible. Fuck
sexuality is such a spectrum.
That's
it's
horrible.
Like, But yeah, so I tell these people, I'm like, fuck off. Like, I have a relationship.
That's horrible.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want this podcast to sound like people are mean to me, because they're not. Like, a lot of people in my life are super supportive, but like anyone else, you're gonna get your haters, or you're gonna get people who don't appreciate your work.
Especially in this situation, I can only imagine.
Yeah, especially in entertainment. It's like, we had to put up this facade and be this perfect person. And I'm like, I'm not perfect. I'm like so deeply flawed, and I think that is what's perfect about
Literally
it.
have to act perfect.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
what
much.
you do.
That's it. It's like, be the good Christian, be the good son, be the good boyfriend, be the good everything. And
so there's just battles all around.
Yeah, but everyone has battles.
For sure, yeah.
Like,
but I mean,
you have battles, I have them. A listener has them.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that shouldn't be battles that the world tries to make a battle.
And that's like what I'm
being
getting
gay
at. Especially
is not a battle.
No, especially this day and age, and I hope it progresses more and more. Homosexuality shouldn't be a fucking thing to get all hot and bothered about. Like,
no, not at all.
I don't understand it. And like we were saying, I'm a tad bit more right-winged.
Right wing.
Right?
Fine.
But
as long as you don't try and take away my rights, I don't give a fuck what you believe.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't if I was smart enough to be in that position.
Yeah. Also, the gays have money. That is where like money stems from.
And let's just another positive that's random as fuck, but just what I think is what I appreciate the most. Obviously, you love someone, you that's all there is to it. You let him love. Period. But they're like, oh no, a man needs to be with a woman. They need to procreate. They need to do this. Oh, no, that's not how it is. Not in all cases. Let's just say a gay couple gets together and adopt.
Yeah.
How fucking beautiful is that?
Yeah.
More and more adoptions are happening because of those situations, like that, and that's it. Just that, especially being a father, and just imagining children in that situation. Why I would want these kids to have fucking parents. Period.
Yeah.
Like, that's what hurts me the most, is how people just are so against all this.
It's bullshit. And
Totally.
I'm super happy that like marriage is legal in all 50 states and whatnot, but then you like start to hear this shit about like Trump wanting to take away certain rights from like trans people and things like that, and it just seems like a slippery slope of, I'm not here to like trash the president or whatever. I actually don't care that much for politics, but it's like when it has to do with like people's rights and things like that, that is when my ears perk up and I'm like listening, and I just want to make sure like I never really understood why people didn't care for, like, why people didn't want gays to get married or things like that. It wasn't even for my benefit. Like, anyone. I feel like people should have the right to marry a guy or a girl or whoever they want to marry. Like, It shouldn't make a difference. And it doesn't affect you. Like, if I got married to some dude, how is that going to affect your relationship with your wife or your kids or anything of the sort?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I've heard people saying, like, oh, I want it changed because I don't want my kids seeing two guys or two girls together out in public, like, just holding hands. And I'm like, okay, and this is what I bring up, or try to bring up without starting a fucking fight, is, okay, so you're telling me that you want your kid to suck up those feelings that they may encounter later on in life?
Yeah.
You're telling them that they need to be a certain way and that there's no other way around it. That's what you're telling me. That's fucked.
No, it really is.
It's fucked. I mean, I used to be, like, I think I've said it twice in this fucking podcast. I used to be a fucking jackass. I've been that guy. And it honestly, like, I start honestly tearing up to think about how much of a fucking jackass I was. Having kids fucking changes you greatly. But it even happened before that. I couldn't imagine telling my kids to not be a certain way. That is what hurts me the most.
It's scary. It's sad. Like, most homeless youth are like gay, lesbian, bi, transgendered, and things like that because their parents kicked them out.
Because they had a fucking natural feeling that... Man, this got deep. That sucks, though. Like,
no, it's true. It's not like you don't, like... it's funny because people like always say like homosexuality or things like that is a choice, but it's like, why would I choose to make my life harder? Like that just doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah,
like, why would I choose that?
Exactly, and that's a fact. It's fucking 100%
it's just like
harder.
It's
no
there,
matter.
but like even as like a kid, like in elementary school, I still had these feelings. It's not like I wasn't taught them. Nobody forced them upon me. I wasn't like molested or anything of the sort, like how they say like somebody like must have fucked you up and that's how you ended up this way.
There's like it always has to be like a huge traumatic incident that like changes people's mind to be gay.
Yeah, or like gay conversion therapy tries to tell you like your father fucked you up, you should hate your dad. I'm like, you met my dad. I was like, he's the most loving person ever. I was like, my dad's fucking great. I love my dad.
Yeah.
There's been nothing in my life that like pushed me towards this direction. I was natural. Like, it's there. It's what I know. It's what I feel. And it doesn't feel any different than you feel for your girlfriend or things like that.
Exactly.
Honestly, my life is in a way harder. Like, I can't hold hands with someone without being scared that someone's going to say something or hurt me or want to, like, say something derogatory. Like, I have this fear constantly. Whereas, like, straight couples never... They don't think about that. You can kiss your girlfriend, you can hold her hand, you can do whatever, and you don't think about what might happen. But I've had things happen to me where I was dating this dude, and I was at my house, before we moved here, another house, and I was just holding his hand, and we were walking down the driveway, and this car drove by, and I immediately let go of his hand because I got scared, which is horrible. And I saw it was a girl, and I was like, oh, girls are more, like, accepting than guys are. And then somebody rolled down the window and was like, fucking faggots, and then drove off. And I just broke down crying because I was like, not even in my own, like, neighborhood or in my own driveway did I feel safe or comfortable enough just to hold someone's hand. It was like I wasn't even doing anything bad or, like, risque. I was, like, holding a hand.
Yeah.
And so it's like things like that I'm just constantly aware of or constantly thinking about. And yes, things are so much better now than they were before. But it's also still like a big scary world, and it even puts fear in my mom and my dad. Like when I first like told them like, hey, this is kind of how I'm feeling. My mom was more afraid of how the world would treat me than she was of like having a gay son or anything of the sort.
Well, that just shows love right there from your parents, right?
They were very accepting, and I got super lucky in regards to that. But it's also awesome. It's hard on them too. Like
I can imagine. Oh yeah, I mean, even the way you think you get judged when you're doing that, I mean, this is probably the same for them. It's not that they're embarrassed, but it's just how this world is now. It's like, no, this is my son, and you know, he's gay, and they're probably wondering like how or what people are thinking at that point. So I can only imagine.
Yeah. And it's like, it sucks, but I again try and process it into art, into poetry, into just how I express myself, and I'm like, this is what I do.
Yeah. Once again, keep that shit up.
Thanks, dude.
No,
it means a lot to me. Like, again, how specific I can write, and then people find something to relate to, or they just understand the feeling behind it because they felt it too.
Exactly, and it's so incredible. You explained where these little poems are coming from. You explain the situation, and for a person in my situation to feel similar things, or to even if it's similar or even a tad different, like I read it in a different way and felt something.
Which I love, that they can be interpreted in so many different ways than what I intended. Because I'm like, it's like in a way you open my mind to something else as well. And that's what I love. That's why I love poetry. Because it was like, it can be interpreted a million different fucking ways.
Are you musical? Are musically inclined at all? Because what I'm trying to get at is I listen to a ton of different genres, and it's almost the same thing. Even like the hardcore emo shit that I listen to, they talk about some outrageous shit, but at the same time, like I feel a certain way when I listen to that. or even fucking country or rap when I don't do cocaine and fuck with strippers all the time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
have you ever thought about music at all?
Like writing music?
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me that, like, do you write songs or things like that? And growing up, I did, like, musical theater, so it was like, I can sing and things and whatnot, but I can't come up with melodies. Either I can't or I've never sat down and tried to. But, so I've never really written a song because, again, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But I did actually write a poem that someone took and then transposed into, like, a song for, like, church choirs or, like, big choirs like that.
Wow.
And that's online if you ever want to see that too. Like, I'll send it to you.
But, I mean, think about it. Even the big songwriters aren't always musicians.
Yeah, it's true. And so I've thought about it, and there was this program, because I love Hillsong worship, and like Hillsong, it's a church that started in Australia. Everything in a weird way goes back to fucking Australia.
You probably like love it and hate it at the
I
same
do.
time.
I really do love and hate it. Like when I was there, people asked me like, "How was the trip?" I was like, "It's beautiful," but I had a horrible time. But so Hillsong is my favorite Christian music, and so they actually have like Hillsong College in Australia, and they have a music like songwriting program that I've definitely looked into and have thought about attending, because I actually do think it's something I could do and would enjoy doing. I just don't really know anything about it.
Especially with your connection with church as much as you do, like you obviously still have somewhat of a faith.
Yeah.
Correct?
Which a lot of people thought I'd lose.
And that's amazing. And you might have something there. Like, who knows?
Yeah, and which is really why I want to do my senior project on it, was like, because my faith is as much a part of me as my sexuality is. And I do believe in God. I don't always believe, I have more liberal views than the church does. And we could do a whole fucking podcast on like church or things like that, which is not the point of this one. But I definitely do keep to my faith and go to church on Sundays and still attend and still would love to do mission work like I did in the past. And being gay and things like that won't stop me from attending church. Sorry. Like, it's not my barrier.
I wish this podcast could reach literally everyone in the world.
Maybe one day it will.
I hope.
Which would be amazing.
I fucking hope, because I want, especially in this aspect, I hope people's mindset changes. That's horrible.
Me too. And it is, slowly. But
for
like,
sure.
It just, everything takes time. Like, this is a whole much better era to live in than, let's say, like the 40s or the 50s.
I can imagine. I can't even imagine.
It's crazy to me that, like, even women are still fighting for, like, equal pay and things like that. And, like, we just barely got marriage equality. Australia just got it at the end of last year. Like,
it's getting there.
It's getting there.
Ball's moving.
But it's also, like, why the fuck is it taking us so long? Like, what's wrong with us?
So, obviously, you know, air quote, coming out, whatever you want to call it.
I never actually officially came out. Honestly.
Oh.
I've never, I mean...
Well, explain that then.
No, I will. But, like, people know. Like, my family knows, my friends know, my close friends, but I never did that whole, like...
Well, to your parents, then.
Yeah, my parents know. I told them. My mom actually saw my phone, and that's how she found out. She read a text message.
I thought you meant they're like, Mom...
No,
gay.
They,
we know.
No, they know that. But I meant, like, most people do, like, a big, like, coming out social media post.
Oh, I
like,
wasn't even thinking about that.
Oh, see, that's where my mind went. I never did that. But I'm out completely to my friends, my family, even, like, my agent, my manager. I'm like, y'all know.
I didn't mean, like, the final hurrah, let's have a party about it. I meant,
like... a party with rainbows and, like, everyone, like...
I mean, I'll attend. Fuck it. I'm down.
Oh, but, awesome.
No, but...
Not gonna happen, but awesome. Never gonna happen, ever. You will not get that from me. It's never that.
What I meant was just the process of that actual transition of, this is who I am. Like, I wanted to bring this up because I've had a huge identity issue with myself. Nothing... to do with homosexuality.
I was like, are you secretly gay? Is
no,
this your moment?
No. But I just wanted to see if there's any relation in that. Like, obviously you were questioning, you know, girls or guys. Was there anything else? Did it, like, throw you off to, like, who the fuck am I? Did it throw you off that bad?
Yeah, I cried. I like cried to my mom, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Mom, I can't be gay. Like, it's wrong."
I
like,
can't.
Like, no, that was literally...
I'm sorry I'm laughing at that. Like,
No,
obviously
but
it's a huge... But it makes me, like... Yeah.
It's true. Like, I cried. I bawled. I was like,
Wow.
I can't... Like, this can't be me. Like, I'm supposed to be this perfect Christian, like, boy. Like, no. Like, this can't be right. But when I came out, and I was able to just, like, be myself and date who I wanted to date and things like that, it's like I was so comfortable. Like,
yeah. Once it
yeah, like I didn't feel like I had to hide anything, and it actually made like my writing better. It made my acting better, because before that I always felt like I had this big secret I had to hide.
And you're watching every step you fucking take.
Like, I don't want to come off too gay, or don't want to come off too this or that, or like too feminine, too girly, or like don't do that, don't do this. But then once you like accept yourself for who you are, it's like these barriers and walls you've created go away. Like, when I was first coming out, I couldn't even say the words like I'm gay. Like, that was a struggle. Like, just to get those fucking words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Because I was so worried about how people would see me. I thought they'd always just look at me and be like, their only thought would be like, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay. And then as time progressed and I learned to accept myself, I'm like, people, one, don't fucking think that. Two, if they do, like, if that's their only thought when they see you, then fuck those people. And three, I no longer think that. I don't think about myself as a sexuality. I don't think that's my defining factor.
You are who you
I
are.
think of myself as like, Kevin, he's a poet, he's a traveler, he loves the beach. Like, I don't let my sexuality define me in any way, shape, or form. It's a part of who I am. It's not who I am.
That's exactly the mentality everybody needs,
But
regardless of situation.
Yeah, it takes time.
Oh,
like,
sure.
Figure out who you are, and you are the only person who needs to accept it. Everyone else can go fuck off.
Exactly. Fuck all the haters. And it goes...
Pretty much,
I mean,
yes.
obviously, like, this is a pretty extreme, but, like, regardless of, you know, your plans in life, your ideas, your goal, whatever it is, just go with it. Like, even the podcast I had with Owen, you know, he ventured out in the EDM, you know, all the raves and stuff, and his parents at one point were kind of like, should you really be doing this?
Like, what are you doing?
And then when he became a lead dude and actually, you know, came up, they were like, hey, don't stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
So no matter what situation, no matter what you're feeling, just fucking go with it. You were like the prime example of it, dude. I can only imagine going through that process.
It was a lot. But for like a long while, I kind of felt alone. Like, I didn't have gay friends. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I couldn't talk to my church, which is like the people I had depended on for so long.
That just kept denying it. Like, no, you can't feel that way.
Yeah, we actually had someone come in and give a talk about how he was gay and now he's straight, and how being gay, like, led him down this dark path. And I was like, no, bro, you were just doing shitty fucking things. Like, it had nothing to do with you being gay.
Your actual sexuality.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And so I remember at one point, a pastor I was really close to, I scheduled a meeting to talk to him. I was going to come out to him and tell him what I was going through. And he had canceled the meeting because something came up or whatever. And I was like, I just took it as a sign, like, this isn't going to be the home for me right now. Or, like, my confidant. You're not going to be the person who's going to help me through this process. And so I never talked to anyone at church. I switched churches. I ended up at a different one. And things are better now. I had moved too, which helped. And but I didn't have anyone to guide me through this process. I really depended on books I read and like things like that. I just learned to become my own on my own. I didn't have anyone. I didn't have a mentor.
That's again just shows you the type of person, like how strong you are, because I feel like a weak piece of shit because
You're not.
In all of my, you know, pits I've gone through, all the shit I've gone through, I feel like I've always needed someone to talk to through that. I now obviously it's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that, but especially in that situation, that's incredible.
Thanks. Yeah, it was It was interesting. It was like I can't even, like, yes, I had my family's love and support, but it's like they also didn't understand what I was going through.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and so I've been through a lot, but it's also like I feel like I haven't been through enough. Not that I want God or the universe to throw more shit at me. I'm like, no, I've handled enough heartbreak for a little bit. But it's also like I always think to myself, things could be worse. And I got very lucky to have a very loving, supportive family who I can still depend on. And I do, in a weird way, like pride myself on being able to like bounce back. Because like even after that Australia thing, I was crushed. I had never loved someone so much in my entire life. I spent the entire, like, the week I got back, I was in bed for an entire week. I didn't move. I didn't do anything. I cried. And then, like, the month after, I would just, like, even this floor where we're interviewing right now, New Year's Eve, I was laying on the floor, bawling my eyes out because I saw, like, posts of him and Danny, like, traveling, doing things he swore we would do, he was doing with someone else. But, like, now, I'm, like, still have my moments where I will think back or something will remind me, but I'm just like, I always tell myself, if I could survive that moment and walk away from the one person I thought I was going to have for the rest of my life, I'm going to be okay. Like, I can do all things. Like, I can do anything. Because most people, they'll go back to people who have hurt them, or they'll go back to shitty relationships, or they'll hang on until, like, their hand gets fucking cut off. Like, but me, I was, like, very adamant about this. I was like, I will not speak to you because I no longer have anything to say, and I am strong enough to stand behind my decision. And does it hurt? Fuck yeah, it hurts. Like, it's the most painful thing I ever had to do. But am I, like, stronger? Yeah, 1,000%. I started to do things for myself now that I've never done before. And again, he doesn't get credit for that. That's all on me because I could have stayed in bed forever. Yeah. But I'm the one who decided I'm going to get the fuck up. I'm going to do something about it. And I'm going to turn this entire pain, heartbreak into the most beautiful artwork that these two hands could create. And that was my thing. And that's where I'm at now. That's what made me start sharing my poetry online. Which all goes back to poetry. Here we are, full circle.
That's fucking awesome, though. I mean, like I said, it's unfortunate that you had to go through such circumstances to be such an amazing poet that you are now. But obviously, it's you're gonna have a transition to other things, and yeah. I'm telling you right now, I'm fucking excited for that. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, man. Thank you.
I can't wait to see either. I'm super excited. I'm like,
I don't even know what the fuck's gonna happen.
I don't know, but I'm like, I hope people like this book I've made. I did, like, my own drawings for it. I did, like, obviously wrote the whole fucking thing.
You almost done? What's to do with it?
I'm just, like, now I'm just editing, like, tweaking some things, like, changing some words around.
Done?
It's almost done. Ooh. And the next step for me is honestly get it formatted, and then we're fucking done. Like, I designed the cover, I designed the illustrations, I wanted to make this as much of me as I possibly can without asking anybody else for help.
Perfect. I want one of the first fucking copies.
Yeah, I'll sign it. I will send it to you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, which is cool because, like, sending stuff, I started sending poems to
wanted
people.
To bring that up, but I didn't. It was a weird transition to go back. Here go ahead, fuck yeah.
So I started, because I use a typewriter. I bought a typewriter at a flea market, and they didn't know if it would work.
Amazing.
And I said, fuck yeah, it'll work. I'll fix it. So I fixed it up myself.
That's so awesome.
I fixed it up. I found the ink I needed, did a shit ton of research and a lot of reading. I got it fixed up, started, like, doing my poetry on little papers and posting it. And then people really responded to it, so I told people, like, I would send them some poems. So I did it for free at first. So I sent poems out, and then after I did, like, the first batch, there was about 20 of them. Which is, like, not a lot, but it's also, like, 20 people wanted my shit? That's dope. And so...
Something that's so fresh, yeah.
Yeah, and so then people would see that other people got them, and then they'd reach out to me and be like, hey, could I get a poem? And I was like, well... I can't do this for free, like, for forever. Like, I need money, too. And so I told people, I was like, yeah, I'd love to send you one, but it's, like, $5 because I need materials. Like, I have to buy stamps. Stamps are fucking expensive. You learn that when you grow up. That you gotta, like, buy stamps, and they're expensive. And so I like, said $5, and now, like, someone gave me $20. Like, people are just giving me money, and now I'm, like, sending poems out to people, and it's fucking awesome.
That's great.
And I was like, the fact that you guys love this, it, like, makes me so happy and excited.
So do you choose the poem, or do they?
So that's interesting you asked me that. So I've asked these people, I'm like, hey, is there a specific poem you want, or do you want it just to be random? And, like, 9 out of 10, they always just say, make it random. So I just send them what I'm feeling in the moment, or things that I think are kind of universal. And I also think of it as, like, a sign from the universe. Whatever you receive is what you're supposed to get in that moment and what you need to hear. Mm-hmm. And so I have a few of my favorites that I'll send out, but I just, like, randomly pick. Like, someone asked me to do something specific, and so I wrote this, like, longer poem, and I fell in love with it, and I was like, this is definitely going in my fucking book. And I wouldn't have done it if that person didn't ask for it. And so,
wow,
it's cool. So yeah, now I'm able to make money off of. I remember when I sold my first poem, I, like, wanted to cry because it was like someone actually paid me for my artwork.
To see it, like, resulted in something like that.
Yeah, not that I do it for the money, but it's just
exactly.
like the fact that someone thinks it has, like, value in cash. That's awesome. Like, incredible.
All right, well, I want that first poem that I commented on. Obviously, I'll pay you.
No, you're fine.
That
you're
one,
fine.
I want that one, and I want you to create another one specific for me.
Yeah.
Deal?
Deal.
Fuck yeah. How awesome.
Just give me a topic. I love to do it because whatever topic someone gets me, again, I make it personal for me, which in a weird way is personal for them.
Well, it probably and on top of that, I mean, obviously you're probably fucking great at that, but again, it probably makes you grow as a poet because, like you said, you have most of your shit is about this one dude, right? Yeah. But obviously that kind of makes you branch out.
Yeah.
Does it not?
No, it does. And I, like, because I read a lot of poetry and other people's stuff, that also inspires my work. I can't make it through, like, a complete, for example, like, this girl's book, phenomenal. I'm holding a book called Corazon by Jessica Salgado. I couldn't even read this whole book. It's only, like,
100
less than 100 pages. I can't read this whole book without stopping at least every few poems to start writing my own. So that's how it is for me. Like, I get inspired by other poets.
That's amazing.
And their style of writing because I don't really know what my style is yet. My style is constantly changing. It's constantly growing. A poem I write today is so different than a poem I wrote a month ago, even. And so it's like I'm constantly inspired by the world around me. So I get excited when people give me topics or say, hey, can you write a poem about my grandma? Or can you write a poem about a dog? Or unrequited love, which is my forte. Like,
yeah. That's amazing. I hope my listeners hit you up about that.
And I'd love it.
That expands.
Reach out to me.
I feel like that's just... what you do now is just fucking amazing. And even that is just a whole nother aspect of this. That's fucking awesome.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, we covered so many topics. I'm sorry if this podcast is so long. I hope you guys made it all the way through.
That's good. No, I'm certain that people will be interested through the whole thing.
Yeah, good. I mean...
more so listening to you. I'm just this guy who...
You're just like...
laptop and a microphone.
No, it's great, though. Like, I wouldn't have a platform to talk if you didn't do this.
That's a reason why I do it. I just want, like I said...
this is your art as much as poetry is mine.
I hope so. It's getting there. Like I said, I showed you how funky I am with all this technology shit.
It's awesome. Because, like, we're both creatives, so it's like... we're both learning. Hey, you can call yourself a creative now.
I don't know.
It's okay. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm an artist.
Stupid shit.
No, but it's fine.
That's why I called it Maniac Cast. A maniac who decides to bring a microphone and talk to people.
You're like, wherever you are, I'm gonna fucking talk to you. Again,
laptop, microphone, beer. Yeah. Done.
I have vodka and Sprite Zero, so...
there we go. The drink is out.
And we're sitting in my nephew's bedroom at my parents' house. Which
okay.
used to be my bedroom, by the way.
Oh, this was yours?
This was one of mine, and then the other room, which is like my dad's office, was my other bedroom.
So I think, this is my fifth. So,
lucky
lucky number 5.
Lucky
Three out of my 5 podcasts I've drink alcohol during.
Go ahead.
I
wanted to create like a video series of where I'm really like stoned and I just like go to places and review food.
That would
like while high.
Fucking amazing.
I can't remember what I was gonna call it. Like, I think we were gonna call it Munchies. Me and my friend Sam. Like that was our idea. Was just like Munchies. We get stoned out of our minds and just eat food. And when you're high, everything tastes fucking good.
For sure.
You're hungry.
Yeah. You're sober and then you eat it. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I like this.
Sober me wouldn't eat half the shit high me eats.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
So how long have you been smoking? If you step on that topic.
Yeah, no, it's funny because like growing up, I was like the dare kid. I was like, no, I'll never fucking do drugs ever.
Dare.
and then college was the first time I got high. I had an edible, and I was like, I don't feel anything. And the next thing,
like a bag of bricks.
Yeah, next thing I know, I could see music like floating in the air. Like I was fucking.
I can see sounds, bro.
I was stoned, and then we watched like some video of a guy with lights and hands, and I was so entranced. And I did that in college, and then I just started like gradual like smoking. So now I have like a weed vape pen that I carry with me. I'll sometimes smoke before work just to like mellow the fuck out. Which is always funny when I'm stoned at work because I'm always like very agreeable with customers. I'm like, yeah, sounds great, awesome, yeah, totally, of course, like
probably
cool.
Helps you out.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's so funny because customers at work doesn't have anything to do with being high, but they like try and set me up with women they know. And it happens all the time. Like one lady's like, what about this girl? She's like Cuban. Do you think she's cute? And I was like, yeah, she's totally cute. But I'm dudes. Like, I'm just like, I'm not that interested.
Well,
I'm like,
there's a few girls, I'm not going to call them out. Again, like I this is how stoked I was. I showed fucking everybody I know. Like, look at this dude and his poetry.
Oh, I've like fucking burst bubbles right now.
And a few, yes.
Oh.
And if I already hadn't told them, but they looked at you and they're like, he's fucking gorgeous. And I'm like, he's gay.
Like, I wasn't sure if you like knew that before coming into this. And I was like, I'm about to like pop a big bubble for Kyle if he doesn't know this. But I'm like, I also don't make it a secret on my Instagram or things like that.
Well, no, all right.
It's okay. You can say whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to be offended.
Well, I'm going to start off from the beginning. And again, this is from when I was a piece of shit jackass. When I knew you in elementary school, we were friends, but I knew that there was something different. Okay?
You're weird. Go away.
No, that's okay. It may have been.
I know what you mean, though. I'm not.
It's hard for me to admit because again, I'm a totally different person now. Obviously, from this conversation that we've fucking already had.
Kids were fucking mean.
Oh, totally, and that's what I'm saying. People need to fucking open up and stop raising bullies. Anyways, so I kind of had this sense, but so. We've been friends on like social media for a minute, I guess.
For a while, yeah.
But I think I think it wasn't fully like until I saw in your poems maybe the word him, and I think you posted something with a rainbow flag, which doesn't always mean.
No, I did. Yeah.
Well, like okay, like I mean I support gay marriage or whatever, but it was the combination of a rainbow flag and the word him in your poem. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. I don't think I need to ask him like, hey dude, are you gay? Like,
dude, do you like the dick?
Exactly. So, I'm glad that this went as smooth as it did and that we had that conversation, to be honest.
No, I'm glad too. It's awesome to like reconnect with someone from like it's cool to bring like the version of me now to like meet like people from my past who I haven't really like spoken to since elementary school, like. And
I hope our friendship doesn't end here. I don't think
it will. I think it'll actually grow and get stronger.
Of course, I enjoy doing podcasts. There's a reason why I do this, but at the same time, it's a vehicle for me to get closer to people. Period.
To be honest, I was scared to go into this because I didn't know if like you would accept the fact that that's the truth behind my poetry, or like
really?
Well, just because like I didn't
I have a beard and a fishing shirt.
No,
like, I'm, like,
no.
Right wing, like I fuck my cousin type.
No, because like I just like again never came out to like people from my past or things like that, and I just like I was nervous. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you opened up about something.
Yeah.
I'm now opening up. I was nervous. Yeah. Like,
you said you're an open book. Fuck, I am too.
I'm a completely open book.
There's
say and do crazy shit.
Again, like, especially like my first group of like people I podcast with. I hope I, reconnect with them in general. Period. But with podcasting, because there is 75% of me that you haven't heard in this No, fucking 90%. You know what I mean? And it goes deep.
I talk so much. I'm sorry.
It goes deep. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, and I'm sure it's the same for everyone else that I've been on a podcast with. So to reconnect with them that way as well will be very interesting.
Yeah, one day we're gonna switch this, and like one of us,
you need to make one.
Is going to. But I'm like,
you already know the best fucking microphone and how to edit.
I know, I really do. I've wanted to make one about love and like hear people's love stories and things like that. But I want to hear your story now. Like,
if you want a fucking dark, fucked up.
Here I am, like, bitching about my heartbreak, and who knows what the fuck you've been through.
I mean, I've had heartbreaks, but I was the opposite.
I was the heartbreaker?
I was a fucking idiot. Yes.
Is it bad if I say that's fucked? Like,
no, it is fucked.
Just like, because like being cheated on,
yeah,
and like being lied to and led on is the worst thing that's ever fucking happened, because it makes you question everything. But
that's why I did it, because I got fucked with. Does that make sense? No,
that's
I'm not trying to justify.
No,
like, I know
that happens. You either become like two different people.
Mm-hmm.
You either become like super fucking jaded, which I kind of am now. Like, I'm terrified of love. I'm terrified to fall for somebody else. Or you become just like the person who hurt you.
Yeah.
Which is like, I've written about, was like, I will do anything to be the opposite of Aiden. I will never be like that.
Mine goes beyond just relationships. That's actually a small factor of why I was such a fucking jackass. And
I'm so intrigued now.
Yeah.
Even the listeners are like, what is it? Like, what is it?
I don't want to open it up.
We will.
That.
One day, we will.
Oh, for sure. Not now.
Kyle will open up about everything.
Great. Oh, man. Like I said, I can't wait for your future in poetry, acting, everything you do, fucking I admire. And
that means so much to me. And I know that probably sounds like bullshit coming out of my mouth, but it really fucking means a lot to hear people say that, or especially to hear you say that.
And I can only imagine. And I mean, it goes, it's ditto from me, from situation I'm in, and just doing a stupid little podcast that only has a couple listeners for you to do it. Like,
but the fact that you're doing it is what's incredible. Yeah. It's the same thing I tell myself with my poetry. It's just like, even my book, like, I don't know if anyone's gonna want to read it or if anyone's gonna want to buy it. It doesn't matter, because I fucking did it. I did something I said I wanted to do. And then I kind of like, my thing is, you put it out there and trust God to take care of the rest. Yeah. And so it's like, I'm gonna put my book out there and trust that it's gonna do the things it needs to do, but God, the universe, whatever the fuck you want to say, can't work with you if you don't put in any fucking effort.
Exactly.
So it's like, you gotta create the thing, put it out there, and see what the fuck happens.
Exactly. I mean, without the podcast, you already have 10 to 15 people that are interested in you and want to buy your book, I'm sure. So
I've had some people say they'd love to buy it, and so it's just like, but it's funny because like my Instagram, the little things I post, a lot of those aren't in the book. Not because I don't think they're good, but because the book is like kind of the longer shit that people don't want to read when they're scrolling through Instagram, because their attention span's not that long.
I understand. It's that whole working with media, social media is hard. I mean, I try to do it the podcasting thing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Oh, it is hard. People like to get people's attention is hard. That's why, like, if you ever read my my captions, that's where I put a bulk of what I'm trying to say. The picture is just the blurb.
And that's the thing. It's a great thing, because what you say in your actual poem is fucking badass. But then you say something that goes with it in your caption, and it's just like, wow, it just adds to it. So it's pretty fucking cool.
Thank you.
So I think we should end it here.
Yeah, otherwise I could talk for 3 days.
Well,
we'd have to order a pizza halfway through so I can eat.
That sounds amazing right now. But yeah, we will definitely make another podcast. But at this point, I have to piss so fucking bad.
Oh my god, that's all I can think about for like the last 20 minutes, and I'm just like, I want to pause.
You're not drinking beer though.
I'm drinking like vodka and Sprite.
All right.
Like, it's going straight through me. I'm
I
not
usually
surprised.
I try to usually end it like, do you have a message for anybody? But we fucking put everything out
Message.
there.
I guess my message is honestly.
Fuck bitches, get money.
Yeah. Be truthful to your. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Just be truthful to yourself. Do what makes you happy, and don't give a fuck what anybody else says, thinks, or don't let people stop you. Because what I've learned is the closer you get to the thing you're supposed to do, the more obstacles you're gonna face. So you just gotta like power through that, bust through the walls, love who you want to love, fuck bitches, get money.
Fuck yeah. That's it. We out.
I gotta pee so bad.
Dude, me too.
Oh god.